Hey everybody, welcome back to the Great Lakes Disc YouTube channel. Today we've got a great interview with Michigan pro Kyle Williams, aka the King of the North. He's a family man, he's a teacher, he's a member of his community. Oh, and he'll kick your butt in your B tier on the weekend. Stay tuned to win two full color buzzes from various state championships. The lights just went out in the store, but that's okay. Don't forget to subscribe and we'll get these lights back on. Stay tuned.
And welcome back to the Great Lakes Disc YouTube channel. Thanks for coming back. Remember to like and subscribe and do all those cool things. With me today is one of my good friends, Kyle Williams, aka the King of the North. How you doing today?
Good. Doing really good.
Thanks for taking some time. I know you're a busy man, both professionally in the real world and professionally disc golf wise, but more
Yeah.
importantly, professionally parent wise as well.
hmm Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes, it's
It's a full-time everything.
Yeah, thanks for scheduling post bath time and bedtime for all of your kids and my kids combined. So this is a little late for us, but we'll get this done, right?
Yep, we will.
Excellent. So for those that don't know, Kyle, why don't you tell us a little bit about your disc golf origin story?
Oh my gosh. So I grew up in Cadillac, Michigan. It's a small town up north. Most people think of it as south of Traverse City. We man, I grew up mainly fishing. I used to fish a lot. Uh, as a kid, you would find me on every dock on Lake Cadillac, fishing,
Nice.
just catching fish. And it was the local bait shop, right? It had everything. The candy, the bait, the drinks, like whatever you wanted. It was the one-stop shop for going out as a kid and going fishing on the docks. Well, at one point in time, they got a bunch of discs in. And we were like, wow, this is cool. What are these things? It's like they're frisbees, but they go further. And then,
Yeah.
my friends and I ended up buying like one disc and going to the local course, which was Kenwood Beach, when it was posts, and we would
Yeah.
just throw them terribly and be like, this is so much fun. Like, this is so cool. Just one discers, man. And it was a lot of fun. That's how it started. And there's
Yeah.
obviously a lot of steps from where I got to now. Um, but that's where I bought my first disc. It was a bait shop.
Do
That's
you remember what it was?
it was called Laura Lee's Landing. And
No, the disc.
uh the disc, it was a Valkyrie, a tie-dye Valkyrie.
Nice.
Then after I bought that one, which I lost a long time ago, I remember the first disc that I really got good with was a KC Pro Gazelle, like a 12 or an 11 time KC Pro Gazelle. And
Yeah.
that thing was just awesome. So that was my like first two real discs right there. Yeah.
And how long after you started playing at the pole course did you wait until you kind of got to the competitive side as far as PDGA side goes?
So that would have been that when I bought my first disc and we were playing at the post course, probably somewhere around 2002. And I would have been probably like a freshman, or yeah, probably like a freshman, sophomore in high school. And the thing is, I got a job as a lifeguard at Kenwood Beach. So we would bring our discs to the beach, and right after work, we would go and play like every day.
That's awesome.
Well, I remember my first tournament I ever went to was probably when I was a junior or a senior in high school. And it wasn't actually me that like found it and wanted to go. It was my cousin. My cousin's like, hey, they have a disc golf tournament in Petoskey. Like, do you want to drive up there and like play in it? And I was like, sure.
Yeah.
He didn't play at all. He was just like, I just want to go and see you compete. And I was like, okay. So I like my 5 discs, put them in a backpack, and we went up to Petoskey. And we get there and I sign up and they're like, yeah, it'll be 2 rounds. There's a lunch break. And, first round, you get your score and then we'll place you based off that, typical format. And I
Yeah.
remember being like, oh man, 2 rounds? Like, that's a lot. Like, how long does a round take? Well, it was at Riverside in Petoskey. It took like 2.5, 3 hours. And my cousin and I get done. He's just walking along with me. We get done and he's like, man, that took a long time. Do you want to just go to lunch and like not come back? And I was like, that sounds good. So we ate lunch and we just left after that. Like we just drove back home. I didn't really care. That was my first tournament ever.
Well, that's a far cry from let's see, 180 plus PDGA events now.
Yeah. Now it's a little different. I'd say when I first really started getting into it was not until there was a long break where I didn't play anything competitively until like my senior year in college, like 2009, when I signed up for a PDGA number and I met a guy on the course at Michigan State. And he was just like, hey, you throw pretty well. You want to play a tournament? And I was like, huh, sure. Like, tell me more. And I was like, remembering I had done it before, but it wasn't really like something I had thought a lot about. So he's like, yeah, you should go. I'm going to this one. It's in Charlotte.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
Lincoln Logs was my first tournament, like as a
Yep.
PGA member. And I think I played AM2 and won in AM2. And then
Nice.
I never played another AM2 tournament. It was AM1 after that.
Well, that's you've got plenty of pro tournaments too there. So when we talk kindly about you in the shop, we refer to you, as the King in the North.
The King in the North!
And we refer to you as a great pros pro, meaning like you're professional on the course, but you also obviously have a life too. You've got kids, you've got a family. What's advice to somebody that wants to be like a true weekend warrior like you, and what kind of expectations do you think you should put on yourself when it comes to that stuff?
So I think you have to just remember, like, with everything going on, like for me, it's, I have summers where I can get some more time playing disc golf, but like for me, I have so much that goes on in a day. Like I kind of chuckled at the question you sent me about practice routine because like I really don't have one. Like there's not a practice routine. I mean, there is somewhat, but like I think your expectations have to be obviously balanced. Like you have to balance things and you got to realize that like you're going to only be as good as the balance you give yourself in all of the things in life. So like my expectations going into a weekend, obviously maybe during the school year are going to be a little less because I haven't been playing a ton, but
Yeah.
I also know that like people don't have that luxury of just, like everyone being a teacher having summers off. So it's really like if you have a family, if you have kids, if you have a full-time job, like the expectations for me are one, I'm going to see a bunch of really cool people that I really like to hang out with. Two, I'm going to be playing disc golf professionally, which
Yeah,
is like a dream. And then three, it's going to be like I'm really competitive and I do love to compete, so that's a joy in itself. And wherever I land, um, you know, it is what it is. There's going to be good days and bad days, so you kind of have to take it for what it is.
for sure. Well, speaking of bad days, unfortunately, a little whiles back, you had a bad day and your Achilles went snap pop, eh?
Oh yeah. Um,
Now, you've been back for about a year playing, right?
so that happened in, I think it was 2021 May. So as of this May, it'll be 3 years. But 3 years since the injury, but I didn't play that first year after until the second year. So like, yeah, this will be what is it, the second full season or third full season?
Second season.
Second
Yeah.
full season back. And it's fully healed. There's a little bit of like elasticity, like it doesn't stretch as far as the uninjured one simply because of like putting it back together. There's a lot of
Right.
scar tissue, but as far as everything else, like I'll go in the weight room and squat like everything I used to do. I'll go in
All
and
right.
like do like exercises. Like I can even get on the court and play basketball, which is how I injured it in the first place.
Oh my.
But it's a lot more subdued. I don't go as hard as I used to because
You're
uh,
not trying to dunk on the fifth graders?
no, well, occasionally.
No,
Um,
occasion.
the it's just not as intense because disc golf's more important to me.
For sure.
Yep.
Yeah, in a much smaller sense, I switched my mouse to left-handed like 8 years ago because I want to save my right hand as much as I can, doing little menial tasks. You know what I mean?
I haven't done that. That's props to you. Because
Well, I'm a nerd and I want to keep that, 900 rating as long as I can.
hey man, as long as you're playing, right?
So we were talking before we hit the record button that we're like less than 130 PDGA number points apart, or sorry, well, probably points apart too, but
Yeah.
PDGA numbers apart. So you've been around about as long as I have on the competitive scene. What do you think the biggest change has been in the scene over that time period?
Oh man. I mean a lot. The biggest one that comes to mind is probably live disc golf, like hands down. Like who would have thought that you'd be watching disc golf live?
Yeah,
They always
that's
talked about
crazy.
They always said like, oh, someday it'll be on TV, and like literally here we are. Like you can sign up and watch live disc golf, which is pretty cool. Um,
It's so amazing.
the other thing is like just the amount of manufacturers. Like when I first started, it was literally just Innova and Discraft. And like
Yeah,
there were some other ones, but like when you talked about the two main ones, that was it.
yeah.
Like you really didn't see anything else. Um,
So, so Mr. Old School, in your bag right now, do you carry anything that's not Discraft or Innova?
I have I have a JSaw glitch.
Okay, what we're gonna count that.
That's like that's maybe it. I have some MVP stuff and that's about that's about it. MVP, Discraft, Innova.
So, do you have a favorite event from the past that you can name off the top of your head?
My gosh. You know, I have to say, like, if we're not talking sanctioned, there
Yeah,
are a ton of events that Aloft runs that are just like fun. Just fun things. Like
yeah,
earlier this year and last year it's been kind of an annual thing now is um is the putting indoor putting at the batting cages at the Traverse City like is it the Pit Spitters Stadium? And so
yeah,
it's an indoor putting tournament, but you're in the batting cages, which is so cool. Like that's
yeah.
just fun.
Super unique.
You can go and buy a burger and have a beer and then like go play like doubles putting with your partner against like another and it's like a tournament style and like that stuff's just fun. Um as for like sanctioned events, I would say my favorite probably has to be I'm a big fan of A tiers and the A tier that I think I like the most is the CCR. Like they do such a
Yeah,
good job. Like I love A tier tea times, 3-day tournaments. It's so
yeah,
relaxed. They're so well run. You show up, you play your round, you like it's smooth. I don't know. I really enjoy it and I enjoy those courses a lot too because they're so dynamic. They're so different.
yeah. Big shout out to everyone over in Lansing and CCR. They put on a great A tier. There's some great coverage of that event from past years on
Mhm.
Crew 42's channel, and I think even Jomez came back in the day. So
Yeah.
check that out for those of you that haven't seen that. So do you have a favorite course?
So besides the two I listed, because that kind of played a part in the event, was the courses as well. Was the one that recently popped up next to me is Green Lake in Interlaken. And
Yeah,
man, I think one of the best things I love about it is just flat. Like
yeah,
you go up north and you've got like ski hills, ski hills, ski hills, mountains, hills, all these things. And it's like, man, you literally have to be like a mountain goat to climb up these things. And I'm not getting any younger. So Green Lake, while it's super long, like it was designed by Avery Jenkins. It's one of the disc golf park courses.
yep.
And it's flat, man. And it's in the woods. And you can, I remember walking, I got to actually the privilege of walking the course with him. And he was like describing how he wanted the vision to be, which was like, there's these tall oak trees, right? Like just massive oak trees. And he's like thinking about these big wide lanes where, like, in the forest, you can just rip a drive. And I'm like,
Yeah,
yes, that is exactly. I don't want some like golf course with like nothing on it, but like big oak trees with like wide fairways, but you're still in the woods and hitting difficult lines. Like that's disc golf to me.
yeah, yep. Yeah, I love throwing discs in the woods. What can I say? It just brings me joy too.
Hmm.
So as we transition to 2024, do you have any big plans?
Um, I mean, take the tournaments as I'm available, right? Like we
Perfect
literally have a
answer.
calendar, like a shared calendar that we write down everything on, and it's like, oh, there's an open weekend. Can I sneak in a tournament? Like, that's uh
Yeah,
I mean, plans for me is usually I like to hit a lot of the A tiers that are in Michigan, and then I like to fill in a lot of like the Northern Waters series, a little bit of the Disc Baron series. I like hitting the Great Lakes sponsored events, like they're all so well run. Aloft
nice.
events like up in the north, like I think we're spoiled in Michigan with the amount
For
of
sure.
like not only tournaments we have, but like how many good tournament directors we do have that actually care. And like, people complain, people are going to always complain. But at the end of the
Right.
day, I mean, you're joining a tournament that's being run, and usually they respect your time, they respect a lot of things, and it's a lot of fun. So,
For sure. For sure. Well, as I've said before, if every pro was like Kyle Williams, our jobs would be very easy. So thank you for being who you are.
yeah.
Speaking of some of those great people, any sponsors to thank?
Really just a loft disc golf. That's run by my buddy Greg, and he
Yeah,
does some really cool things. Like, I would check him out if you're ever up north and looking to like, come up north for a vacation and you want to play disc golf. There's tons of events that he runs that's just they're unique and fun things. Like later in the year, he does a doubles tournament on a it's a disc golf doubles tournament run on a golf course, a 9-hole golf course, and you get to ride on a cart. It's called Bogies and Brew.
nice.
It's sponsored usually by Sheboygan Brewing, so there's a lot of good beer, and it's just a lot of fun, a lot of unique events. Um,
Love it.
Good stuff.
Love it. Well, Kyle, we'd love to have you on. Thank you again for your time. It's been awesome. We do have a giveaway for those of you that have hung out all the way to the end. So if you are still watching, you have a chance to win one of two full color buzzes from the Great Disc State. And we're gonna say pick a number between 0 and Kyle's PDGA number, which is,
40128.
and we'll do random.org in a few weeks after this has been posted and pick a couple winners. Kyle, thanks again and best of luck in 2024.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Until next time, like and subscribe. Keep it in the fairway.